Wow, look at all of these beautiful people. Good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 Seidenberg Innovation Awards. And we are here to honor one of the truly great names and successful people in technology and telecommunications today, Mr. Kyle Malady. Um, this celebration, the Seidenberg Innovation Awards, has been happening for 24 years now. And we have a track record of acknowledging and recognizing not only the great leaders of our time in technology, but the people who have a strong priority in giving back to the community and to education. And Kyle Malady takes no backseat in that regard. He is a great leader and a great example of someone in the technology industry who scaled the greatest heights, but who continues to go back and remember the students and those who are aspiring to follow in his footsteps. So this event celebrates the school's continued advancement. And as we honor these industry leaders with each successive year, our honorees demonstrate new and profound ways in what it means to change the world and change the field of technology, and also in their professional lives to deliver on innovation, on applying great finds in research, and to applying those outcomes to a better service, better technology, and a better world. This has been for all of us a truly unprecedented year. And we would not be here today if we did not have the patience and resilience of the Pace University community, the unwavering commitment of our alumni and friends, our students, our faculty, our staff. Your being here today and your support and your participation in this gathering means more than I can possibly say in this tumultuous time. I think we are showing the world that Pace University and the Seidenberg community are strong and resilient, and that we are moving forward together. And to be able to honor Kyle in this time is a particularly wonderful thing. We would not be here without the incredible Seidenberg faculty and staff who have come in every day to try to deliver a world-class education and extracurricular experience to our students. And we would not be able to do this without the generosity and the time and talent of our Seidenberg Advisory Board members and delegates. Our board members and delegates have led through service and philanthropy to make this event successful and to advance Seidenberg's mission and goals. Furthermore, we couldn't do events like this without wonderful, committed sponsors. We are incredibly indebted to ADP and to Verizon, who are the title sponsors for this event and who have been part of the Seidenberg School's legacy and life for many years now. We are incredibly grateful to our visionary sponsors, our alumnus, Mike Capone, the CEO of Click, and to Mr. Kevin Ryan, who is the founder and chief executive officer of AliCorp, our patron sponsor, the Gray Foundation, and our friend sponsor, Lion Tree LLC. This event is particularly meaningful because through this, our alumni and friends make thoughtful donations in money and also time and talent to make this event the success that it is and to support the work of the school as we move forward. Our recognition today of our honoree, Kyle Malady, and our students who are advancing Seidenberg's mission of increasing technology education and careers and making them more accessible, more available, and more fair to underserved groups such as women and minorities. With your support, we're accelerating this mission, and the only way we can reach our ambitious goals is with that support. I want to affirm today that 29% of Seidenberg's student body is female, which surpasses the national average of 18% in computing programs across the nation. 33% of Seidenberg students identify as ethnic minorities, including African American, Asian, and Hispanic. 50% of our university student body are the first in their families to attend college. And Pace continues to be consistently ranked as the #1 private university in the nation for upward economic mobility of its students. where students with parents in the bottom 20% for household income go on to achieve the top 20% for individual earnings. So your individual investment is helping to make STEM education and careers accessible and within the reach of so many who otherwise would not have the opportunity. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the whole Seidenberg community and Pace University for believing in us, and most especially our students, as they learn and prepare to contribute their unique perspectives and talents to transform industry and their communities. And to affirm our appreciation of your partnership and support, I think there are no more powerful voices than those of our students. And I am delighted to share a video on behalf of the Seidenberg community.
I realize there's no sound. I'm going to replay this. I apologize.
Hi, I'm Marlena, and because of your gift, I was able to move all the way from Europe to New York to start my master's in computer science here at Pace. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks to the scholarships, I was able to continue my educational path to a better future.
Hi, my name is Dana, and I'm an international student from Serbia. Thanks to your gift, I was able to come to Pace University and get a great job after graduation.
Thank you. I'm able to study in the US and be at Pace because of you.
Thank you for being the reason I am in school.
Thank you. Your gift makes a difference.
Hello, my name is Eugene Bazemore. I'm studying cybersecurity at Seidenberg, and just want to take a moment to say thank you for all your support. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you so much. I'm here at Pace because of your gift.
Your generous gift makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your gift. It means a lot to me because it helps me further my education at Pace University.
Thanks to you, I got to have an amazing experience as a student. I will always cherish what you allowed me to learn.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Rhau, and I participated in the New York City Design Factory Challenge-Based Innovation Project and went to CERN at Geneva, Switzerland. During my time with this project, my experiences were once in a lifetime, and the skills that I learned during this project have actually put me ahead of my peers currently at the University of Michigan. Thank you, SIA sponsors, for making this possible.
My name is Noah, and I would like to thank Seidenberg and the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. When I joined the NYCDF Challenge-Based Innovation Program last year, I was given the opportunity to travel to CERN's headquarters based in Switzerland, where, while not only was it one of the most fun trips I've ever been on, I had the opportunity to make a ton of friends who I still keep in touch with today, and I developed both work and life experiences.
Your support allows me to collaborate with amazing people from diverse disciplines and from around the world, and helps me develop as a type of educator who designs transformative student experiences with creative problem solving. Thank you.
This is Dr. Gabberty. Thank you for your support in the efforts that we are currently doing here at Pace University, Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems. The money you supply to us is used to help us with costs associated with software, hardware, cloud costs, maintaining certifications, and the physical fee. Thank you.
Wow. There's nothing more gratifying than hearing from our students and young alumni. And I think you can see the impact that your generosity has had in fueling this school and creating a great education and positive outcomes for thousands of students over the years. So thank you. And that's why today's celebration is extra special. It hits home in the most personal and heartfelt ways to all of us here in the Seidenberg community and at Pace University. And bottom line, our celebration of Kyle Malady and his leadership at Verizon underscores and strengthens the profound legacy of shared leadership, partnership, and community between Verizon and Pace. And let's face it, technology is the future, it's the present, it's a good chunk of the past, but it is inevitably leading the world. And our Seidenberg students who have chosen to study technology with us are going to be the future of the industry and of the world. And Kyle's presence here today is a shining example of what can happen with intelligence and ambition and hard work and learning to build great teams around a shared vision. We take great inspiration from our benefactor, Ivan G. Seidenberg. He is a Pace graduate who earned his MBA in marketing and management in 1981 and went on to become chairman and CEO of Verizon. Ivan transformed Verizon into a premier global network company and transformed Pace through his service as a board trustee and investment in his namesake school, the Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems. As a tribute to Kyle's exceptionalism in building upon the accomplishments of his peers and predecessors and keeping Verizon as a world-class company, I am delighted to share Ivan's video note of congratulations.
Hello, this is Ivan Seidenberg. I would like to start by thanking all of the broad supporters of PACE and the programs that we provide with our thanks for your support during this most unprecedented time in our country. Whether it's COVID, whether it's the economy, whether it's all of the social unrest, it is very, very difficult to keep a focus on technology development at PACE when we do that. So to all of our sponsors, our faculty, Dean Hill, our students, thank you very much for your dedication and your commitment to continue your studies and your education. Now, speaking of studies and education, we do live in a world in which there are unprecedented challenges and opportunities that technology might be able to address. And speaking of that, we're here to recognize Kyle Malady, Chief Technology Officer of Verizon. And of course, I would like to thank Dean Hill and the entire PACE community for recognizing Kyle and the great work that he does. You know, it's interesting. I do know Kyle, and I do know a little bit about the company he works for, having worked there for over 45 years. And watching Kyle's journey as he thinks about technology over the years is a source of great surprise and great pride to me as I look at what he's done. Years ago, technology might have been defined by engineering or software or computer science. Today, technology is defined by the integration of all of these disciplines, whether it be engineering, software, data science, security, computer architecture. There are so many things that go into building the platforms that enable people to create the kind of new services and the innovation that's required to support the world. Now, looking at Verizon, I am sure that when we think about our phones and our communications networks, we can see the extraordinary advancements in technology that has happened over the last 10, 20 years. And Kyle Malady has been at the bottom of that all the way through. So I would like to add my congratulations to Kyle and to his team for all of the great work they're doing and for creating this spirit of innovation that will allow them and Verizon to continue to help people change the world. So Kyle, congratulations to you and your team, and to all of you out there, please be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Seidenberg. And At this time, it gives me tremendous pleasure, and I am deeply honored to introduce our honoree for the Innovation in Communications Award. Honoring Kyle for his transformative work at Verizon holds truly special significance for us, as Kyle represents and leads IT at an organization that not only sets the industry standard for communication technology across the globe, but also for an organization with a rich history of partnership and community with PACE. I'd like to share some highlights. Over 500 PACE graduates work in diverse roles and capacities at Verizon. And that makes Verizon one of our top employers. Verizon was one of the first industry leaders to partner with PACE to launch the National Alliance for Communication, Technology, Education, and Learning program, known as NACTEL, which was a groundbreaking initiative formed in response to the growing education and training needs of the telecommunications industry. Since its inception in 1998, this partnership continues to this day to advance NACTEL's state-of-the-art curriculum to align with the needs of the evolving telecommunications industry. The Verizon Foundation and our Verizon PACE alumni have made long-term multi-million-dollar investments to accelerate the university's mission of Opportunitas, which aligns with Verizon's goals of economic and social advancement by preparing people for the jobs of the future. Such steadfast collaboration and support are affirmed by the legacy of shared leadership among our Verizon and PACE communities. Much beloved by us all is Ivan G. Seidenberg. Ivan exemplifies the best of our shared values and ethos in his service as a PACE trustee and his industry impact during his tenure at as Verizon's chairman and chief executive officer. And indeed, shows that PACE alumni go on to be levels in business and technology in corporate America. In the 23-year history of the Seidenberg Innovation Awards, several Verizon leaders have been recognized. In taking on the mantle of honoree, they have inspired and empowered our students towards greatness by sharing their story and giving their support. We have enduring admiration and gratitude for Paul Lacouture, then president of Network Services Group, who was honored in 2002. Shaigan Karadpir, then chief information officer, honored in 2005. And our own Judy Spitz, who was then senior vice president and chief information officer for IT strategy and planning, who we honored in 2012. Today, we are incredibly privileged to continue and elevate this legacy of shared leadership at PACE and Verizon by recognizing Kyle Malady as the 2020 honoree. Kyle represents IT leadership at Verizon as Executive Vice President, Global Networks, and Chief Technology Officer. In his role, Kyle helps drive innovative communications and technology solutions for people and businesses. He oversees game-changing initiatives such as the Global Network and Technology Organization, which supports Verizon's global customers in over 145 countries through a vast international fiber network. The Global Network and Technology Organization is also responsible for building the Intelligent Edge Network, a fiber-based multi-purpose network that serves all domestic Verizon customers, as well as the systems that support it. This network enables the country's leading 4G LTE customer experience, the largest 5G testbed, and the nation's largest residential fiber broadband service. Kyle also oversees the execution of Verizon's digital transformation of both customer and employee systems. Kyle's talents and abilities to deliver success in these areas are underscored by his track record of achievement and innovation throughout his career. Kyle began that career in 1989 with 9X Mobile Communications, which then became Bell Atlantic Mobile and turned into Verizon Wireless through mergers. During his tenure, he has held a variety of positions in operations, planning, technology, engineering, and finance. Notably, Kyle was head of core engineering and operations within the Global Network and Technology Organization before serving in his current role. In leading core engineering and operations, Kyle was responsible for the planning, design, and operation of Verizon's global voice, data, and IP networks, as well as the engineering and operation of the Intelligent Edge Network. Kyle has also served as Verizon's Vice President of New Product Development, with responsibility for developing core technologies that enabled new products and services. Under Kyle's leadership, Verizon launched platforms such as VCast Music and Video, VZ Navigator, Push to Talk, VZ Mobile Web, the Verizon App Store, and other platforms that served as the springboards for the next generation of wireless data services. He was instrumental in developing and commercializing 4G LTE. In addition to practicing transformative IT leadership at Verizon, Kyle also drives lasting positive change in the field and in the community. Kyle has served on various boards and committees, including the FCC Communication Security, Reliability, and Interoperability Council. Kyle is also involved with charitable causes that raise money to provide free cardiac surgeries for children in developing countries. Kyle earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut and a master's of business administration and finance from New York University. Kyle, your professional success and paying it forward inspire us to excel in all aspects of our own lives. You are not only leading transformation at Verizon in the field of communication technology, but also forging paths toward advancement for the future IT workforce. It is for these reasons and all that you have accomplished that you embody the spirit of this award. Kyle, on behalf of Pace University and the Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems, I am pleased and honored to present to you the 2020 Award for Innovation in Communication.
Dean Hill, thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm here on my porch. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out here in northern New Jersey, so I decided to come out. And hey, first let me just say, humbled by all the kind words there and all of the words from Ivan and yourself. I really appreciated how the vignette there about the students and the discussion about how you move people from, you know, maybe the lower rung of earning capability up to the higher rungs, and how that can be transformative for people's lives going forward. I'm really happy to be here today because I'm really excited to engage with the students and talk about what's on their mind and maybe help them give some wisdom on their own journeys as they move through this part. I'm super excited. I wish I could go back to college and do that work and start on my journey again. It's been fantastic. I've had the opportunity to work with so many great people and so many different colleagues, including Mr. Seidenberg. And each one of those experiences, whether it be in college or in my professional life, has given me something that I can learn from, and I can grow, and I can get better. I can fail, and I can go talk to people, and I can learn from that, and I can continue to do more and more for the company, for my family, and for society. So I really appreciate the kind words. I'm glad that we have a, this is nice, I'm getting an award, but Pace is really helping Verizon out too. As you said, any given time, there's in between 300 and 500 people from Pace working in my team. And we accept this award as a team because it never is one person. It takes teamwork of many, many people with many disciplines, as Ivan talked about, and stitching that all together and getting people passionate, pointed in the right direction, and working as a team to really solve big problems and do great things for society and our customers. So once again, I'm very humbled. I really appreciate it. My team really appreciates it. We'll be talking about this, and I look forward to the discussion with a lot of the students and others as we move through the program here. Thank you much, Dean Hill.
No, thank you so much, Kyle. And it's humbling to have you with us today. And we have a chance now to talk a little bit, and we'll be hearing from our students in a few minutes. But you talk about a storied career, and you're a guy who grew up in the area and went to school in the area. I think a lot of us are curious to know how did you get here? How did you get to this point? Tell us a little bit about the journey, high points, lowlights, and everything in between.
Yeah, I'll go back a little bit. And it's good. I think my journey can resonate with maybe many of your students. I did grow up in the area. My father actually raced harness horses, and I ended up in the area because he raced harness horses at Yonkers Raceway and the Meadowlands. And back when I was in the 70s, it was actually kind of a big sport. And so my dad had a stable, and frankly, he wanted me to take over the stable as I was in high school and maybe going to college. And my first big decision was I didn't want to take the stable over, because I found that that sport and that business is highly dependent on how good your horses are. So your lifestyle is highly dependent on your stable and how many good horses you have. And I felt there's probably a more stable industry for me to be in. And honestly, I'm as a little kid, I just like to tear things apart and rebuild them and put them back together and learn how they work. And that's just the way my head works. So honestly, the first big decision I made was I wasn't going to take the stable. Then the next one was, going to college, getting into college, and then what did I want to study? What was I kind of passionate about? And I chose mechanical engineering because, like I said, I like ripping things down. Electrical engineering at the time was really not that, or computer science, that was just really nascent, and I really wasn't so into that yet. I was into ripping down my motorcycle. So I went to mechanical engineering, and the idea being I wanted to really get into defense contracting. So that's why I went to University of Bridgeport. If you're familiar with the school, they had a lot of connections with like Sikorsky Helicopter, Electric Boat, United Technologies, turbine companies. And I thought that'd be really interesting to go into. And so I started down that path. And what happened, and it's basically serendipity, I ended up taking a summer job at 9X Mobile my last year in high school, and then again in my first year in summertime of college, and I ended up at 9X Mobile Communications. And at that time, none of the kids on this call remember, but the mobile phone only worked in your car, and there was a transceiver about the size of your back trunk that needed to go into the car to make it work, and it probably cost $2,000 a month. So, but I just found it really, really fascinating. I thought the technology was super fascinating, and I more kind of an EE world in computer science, but I just really found it fascinating. So I kind of pivoted and went in that range. Now, how I ended up at 9X is interesting because I had been doing summer internships, and I know PACE takes that. You help kids find jobs, get internships, and get some experience. And I was able to get great experience at 9X, but I wanted an engineer role. I wanted a formal engineer role. And it just happened that one job came up at 9X, and I applied for it. But unfortunately, I think probably most of the kids on this call, they know Cooper Union. And so, there's a bunch of smarty pants over there. And it was me against 3 or 4 Cooper Union kids, so I had no shot. So I didn't get the engineering job. So I was bummed out. But the director of operations called me and said, "Kyle, I heard you were looking for an engineering job, and I heard you did some really nice work. You were a hard worker, and people really had good things to say about you when you were here during the summertime." So he actually offered me a job in operations. And honestly, best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I was able to learn the business from the ground up, from basically a technician's job, really hands-on, really in the front line, and learning how the tech works. And from there, basically, it's a whole nother story. But in general, I didn't have a great plan. It was almost kind of serendipity to some instances. If there wasn't an engineering job open, I don't know I would have ever applied. If I decided that I wanted to race horses, I would have never done this. And then at the end of the day, I ended up in a place in 9X, Verizon and its predecessor companies, that really just allowed me to learn. And at the end of the day, that's probably what I really wanted all along. I wanted a job that I could learn, I could make a difference, I can have an impact, and then my accomplishments would mean something. People would use the products and services that we were developing. There could be a good financial impact. There could be an impact on society. And over time, as I gained more wisdom, I really realized that's what I was looking for all along in my journey here. But the other thing I would say, important in the journey, and I think it's really important for folks to, as they think and they start moving on their careers, don't play it safe. If you're gonna make yourself better, you're gonna have to take chances throughout your career to maybe do something that may not seem so sexy, or it may not pay the same amount of money. But at the end of the day, there's things that you will learn and make you better, and it'll help you down the road. So, in a nutshell, I guess that's generally the journey.
Yeah, that's a hell of a journey, Kyle. And I think that it's fair to say that you didn't just have a ringside seat for the evolution of technology and the central role that telecommunications played in that, and the advent of smartphones and the iPhone and all of that stuff. You were in the middle of the ring in those battles. So maybe you've got this incredible perspective because of that experience. What can you tell us about, the evolution of technology and what the students should really keep in mind in terms of their own professional development and preparations?
Yeah, so a couple things. I guess here's the first thing that I would offer. And when I got out of college, this was kind of an eye-opener to me. I just assumed corporate America was so finely tuned and honed in and worked seamlessly that, why would they even need me? Right? It's the greatest economy in the world. It's the greatest economy that's ever been. Why would they need a kid out of college to help them, right? And then I soon found out that they absolutely do, because things change. Things aren't always engineered correctly. Things aren't always put together correctly. And a lot of our jobs as engineers and technical folks is to push technology limits, make processes better, just in general, make better outcomes for your customers. So that was the big first insight. Second insight I found is you're probably a lot smarter than you think you are. Because when I first came out, once again, somewhat in awe of corporate America, once again, how much do I have to offer? Well, guess what? You have a lot to offer, but you need to speak up. You need to make your thoughts known. They need to be well thought out, because you're going to get challenged. But you don't help anybody out, either yourself or your teammates, if you don't make your views and your ideas known. That took me a little while. And once I got that freed me up more to really engage with my colleagues and bounce ideas off of each other, and then get into this great, I guess, teamwork mode where you're working with some of the best and brightest people in the industry, and you're challenging each other on how can we make this better? We have this problem right here. What technologies are out there that we can help make this problem better? Or we can create a new service for our customers, or we can push the envelope and create all new platforms. And, long story short, I've had those interactions for the last 30 years with some of the greatest people, in technology, and had a lot of great advancements that really helps society and our customers. And right now, I'm really excited about what we're doing with 5G, the work we're doing in the radio access network, and that's really the network that interfaces with people's cell phones. When I first started, there was no such thing as data on it. It was an all analog technology, and over the I guess the G's we call them, now we're up to 5G. Back in the day, I would have given anything to get a T1 speed to my home. And that would be 1.5 megabits a second, which today is not even considered broadband. Now we're getting upwards on the 5G phones that we're testing right now. I'm able to get 4 to 5 gigabits a second while it's moving. Now, if you take that along with what we're doing with AWS and Amazon with moving compute much closer to the edge, you marry all these capabilities up, almost like Ivan was talking about. You marry all these different things up, all these different tech. You bring AI and ML in, computer science. You put them all together, you make this great soup that is really going to enable developers. entrepreneurs, businesses, governments to change the way we communicate in a meaningful way. And so, I've been super lucky. I've picked a firm that allows you to be curious and grow and allows you to fail and learn from it. One other thing that I learned is if you work in a company like Verizon, there's a lot of backstops. You can't fail so bad that you're going to sink the company, right? And so failure can happen, but people need to embrace that. Most of the big things I've learned and the things that stick with me have become really because of failure, not because of a success. And I always credit my wife. She's an engineer as well, and she was in the business, and she always had a saying she learned from one of her bosses was, you never know you're right. You only know when you're wrong. And if you think about that, especially as a technical person, you have so many decisions to make. Many of them are put together in a series of decisions. You never know if you really made the best one. You only know if you screwed up, really, right? So, it's one of the things that I think about when I'm making decisions and whatnot. So anyway, long story short, I've been a very lucky man. I've gotten to work with great people, and it's made me better over my life.
Clearly, Kyle, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the I word, innovation. And before we go there, just want to give a shout out and a welcome to Vipul Nagrath from ADP, a co-honoree who's joined us. Welcome, Vipul. So pleased you could be here. And in a few minutes, we'll turn the questions over to the students because they always ask very interesting questions and sometimes hard-hitting ones. So
awesome.
If you have a question, please put it in the chat, and if we can, we'll try to unmute you and have it with your camera on so you can speak to Kyle directly. And if not, put it in the chat bar, and I will do my best to ask it coherent. But back to innovation, you're running digital transformation for both, your internal customers within Verizon and external. And, everyone's talking about innovation, and I haven't talked to too many people who really knew what it was, at least within the context of their own company. So what does it mean to innovate in technology today? And again, how can our students prepare to contribute to the innovation of their future employers?
It's a great question. And I've thought about this a lot for many, many years. And I'll start by saying, what I find is when you bring up the word innovation, most people feel like it's inventing the next thing, like inventing the light bulb or inventing some new gadget. That's what when I talk to people, generally, that's what they think. To me, innovation is a much more broader topic than inventing a gizmo. And I see it every day. And what I try to do is set up teams that have goals to solve big problems. And if you do that, the innovation will come. And it could come in very small things, physical things. It could come in huge, groundbreaking software developments. And they all matter because they're all in line with the goal of solving a big problem. So I'll give you an example of two that I think about. And many people wouldn't consider this an innovation. So one of our FiOS techs, they need to run fiber in multiple, in dwelling units that have multiple living units. So say 15 living units they call them multiple dwelling units. So they have to figure out ways to fish this fiber through these old buildings. And I was out in the field one day looking at it. This fellow, he invented a contraption that basically uses string and basically a vacuum, and he figured out ways to get fiber through these areas that you never would have thought about. And what happens is, it's one of these things, necessity is the mother of invention. He figured out ways using tools and technology at his hands to get the fiber in. Why? Because he is trying to get the customer service. Now, all the way bring it to more high tech stuff. Right now, I have a bunch of engineers working with some partners on something called PDCP aggregation and DSS. It's very, very down to bits and bytes at the silicon level, and how you control software and hardware simultaneously to basically bring together two different technologies into one stream in layer 2. So this is all of them, all of these things, these two different examples, kind of two different sides of the equation, but they all are supporting solving problems that will help us serve our customers better. And that's the way I look at innovation. My role in innovation, I'm basically out of innovation. What I can do is ask some big questions and put some big targets out there and get the right teams together to work in conjunction with each other from a lot of different backgrounds to work together to solve those problems.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very interesting. And I think it talks about, the cutting edge of innovation. You have the opportunity and the challenge of all of these new products that are coming out. And I've seen in the chat room, lots of folks want to talk about 5G. One of the interesting questions is, technologically, what are the challenges, particularly related to cybersecurity, around rolling out a 5G network nationwide?
Yeah, no, I mean, the same challenges that apply for historical technology apply for 5G as well. There's many bad actors in the world, and people looking for vulnerabilities in our networks. Every single day, I've got a rather large team that monitors our global networks. What people may not know is Verizon's network is in about 150 countries. So we run networks all globally around the world, and they're connected up through undersea cables that we manage. So when you run huge networks, you always need to be on top of your game in terms of cybersecurity. And so we have a great group of folks. We plan. We're always on the lookout for vulnerabilities. We're always looking out for intrusion. We follow a NIST framework for how we manage our networks and our security. But at the end of the day, that's all technology stuff. Probably many of you know the weakest link in our security is humans. And that's how a lot of either mistakes are made, patches aren't put in, people call up customer service, phishing, looking for credentials. So the whole, I guess the whole area of cybersecurity isn't just technology. You got to look at the whole surface, the whole threat surface. But in terms of 5G, what I can say is this: we've taken learnings from previous technologies, we've incorporated those into 5G, and it's a more robust set of technologies than we had even with 4G.
Yeah, that's truly amazing as well, and it's a huge responsibility. And there is a lot of conversation about work-life balance and making sure that when you are under great pressure as an executive, you are able to cope with it. So with all of the responsibilities you have, how do you handle it? How do you, from sliding under the bed and staying there all day?
Here I'm gonna shout out again. It's not me. It's how I was allowed to grow inside of Verizon and the predecessor companies. I mentioned earlier that starting in operations was actually a godsend for me. And it was, because things go wrong in operations, and you'll go from really not much pressure on you at all to the weight of the world is on you. Let me give you an example. So at one point in my career, I was in charge of technical services, and we lost a switch. And a switch, back in those days, it covered a lot of ground. So we'd have one switch, say, for all of New Jersey, right? And the switch failed. So everybody looked at me and, okay, what are you going to do to fix it? The whole state of New Jersey can't make a call. And this probably happened to me when I was 22. So pressure. So, but that was a learning to me. That was, how do you how do you process that pressure and still perform? And that's not anything you can really tell anybody. You actually have to sit in that fire and deal with it. And I've had in operations, you get that, right? Sometimes in engineering, you might not, because you're engineering a plan and somebody else has to go execute on it. But if you're in an operational role, some of this stuff happens. Another example is Sandy. I was basically here in my house, and the East River was rolling in through our West Street location down in southern Manhattan, and I had switch techs in there, and we were all on the phone. And you typically don't do this. We had to turn the switch off, because if I let the switch fry, I didn't know if I'd ever get it back. So we shut it down gracefully for a little while until we could get the water out. And then we brought it back and it came back. But that was a call I was able to make because of numerous other ones where I had this pressure on me. And what is just like anything else in life. You start off and you start just chipping away, you get more confidence, you understand. And then at some point you feel like I can deal with this. The other thing you need though, is in my role here, I have great folks like Kate and great teams. And the other side, you need to know when to delegate and trust. And because you can't, it's too big. Our networks are too large. I have over 50 some odd thousand people working in my team. And so you can't micromanage. So what you need to do is find people you can trust, people who are excellent, and you need to trust them. Once again, you give them the guidance on where we need to take things, a little bit on how, and then you let them innovate and you let them do the work and you let them carry the load as well.
Great advice. And it's impressive work, but you make it seem attainable and achievable by hard work and small steps and focusing and the right people. I think another very impressive thing, Kyle, is that you are not just accomplishing things within Verizon. You're doing a lot to make your community and the world a better place. And, I guess my question stems from the same root. You've got this big job. You've got 24/7, 365 commitments, but yet you find a way to give back. Did you grow up with this in a culture of giving back, of contributing to nonprofits and dealing with societal problems? Or is this something that came to you as you evolved as an executive?
No, this came to me, I think, as I evolved as a person, frankly. I'll be honest with you. I think when I started, I was probably more of an angry young man kind of mentality. And as I started to learn more, I started to check myself and think about what am I trying to accomplish here? What are the means to the ends? And unfortunately, and that's why we give, my wife and I, my family, give to a great organization called Heart Care International that does these free pro bono open heart surgeries. I had a daughter who we lost at the age of 1 to heart disease. So that did two things for me. I think it made me a better person and thinking more about how can you give back, because what I saw the healthcare workers and the doctors and the commitment they have to their profession and to helping people just basically was life-changing. So, so we became much more thoughtful about that, where before I got to say I probably wasn't. Once again, I think it also helped me with how do you deal with crises and problems. You have a sick child in Columbia Presbyterian for a year, and you're doing all you can to to keep her alive, and that will give you a different perspective on your journey than if you're just kind of grinding out spreadsheets at work, right? So once again, it's kind of accumulation of experiences, how you react to those experiences, what works, what doesn't, and taking check on yourself. And that's how I think how you get through some of this stuff.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, and our heart goes out to you. But your how you've responded to it, like in any heartbreaking situation, speaks volumes about you and your family. So
yeah. So look out! I'll do a plug here for all you guys Heart Care International, you can go on the web and look at what they do. They do fantastic work. Dr. Mishler, he's over at Montefiore. The Albert Einstein School of Medicine, I think he runs their surgery. But look it up online. They do fantastic, fantastic work. Every dollar goes to helping the kids.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you again for sharing that. And you're at this amazing place in your career. And we've got a lot of folks on our call this afternoon who are trying to figure it all out, and they're getting ready to get on that first or second rung of their career ladder. Had a great question from our IT department chair, Dr. Namshul Shin, who asks, you know, Kyle, if you could hire one person today, what kind of person would you hire in terms of their skills, their current knowledge, their potential? What would you be looking for?
I look for two things. I look for curiosity and passion. And really I think those are two fundamental traits that I look for in folks. I want somebody to be, if they want to work here, I don't frankly want somebody who's like, you know what, hey, you guys are paying me more, so I'd like to come there. That's not the attitude I want. I want somebody coming in and saying, listen, you guys are doing some groundbreaking work. I'd love to be on the ground floor with you folks and doing meaningful work. And then, I run a group of people who are technical people. If you don't have curiosity to learn and maybe get out in front of the headlights a little bit on what's possible, what is the new technical, what is the next version of technical specifications, and what is science working on, and how can that be translated back for commercial endeavor, you probably don't belong in my group. So those are key things I look for. And it's interesting. It's funny when I interview people, I'm trying to kind of sort that out a little bit. I get feedback from my HR colleague. I don't interview probably the right way. I look at it almost like I want to learn something from you. If I'm going to take my time interviewing you, I want to learn something from you too. So it's almost like a two-way street. And that to me is important because that also shows me that somebody who can do teamwork. Back in the day, I'm pretty sure PACE teaches this more than, say, my wife and I were in school. When we were in school, it was basically look to the left of you, look to the right of you, two of the three of you are going to be gone. So it was basically in engineering school, it was a weeding out process. I see now that it's much more about how can people team together. And I really think that's the right way to teach, because that's the way it needs to work in corporate America. If you want, they always say, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, bring a team. And that's really the kind of stuff I'm trying to sort out when I get a, when I'm interviewing. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's what I'm going with on this one.
I like the answer. It's a good thing. And on that note, I think we're going to have a chance to bring in some of our students. And Vicente Gomez, are you present and accounted for?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm here.
Do we get to see your smiling face as well?
I have a mask on, so you won't be able to see my smile. I'm sorry.
You are a fully compliant student. We like that.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. Ms. Malady, first off, thank you so much for being here. I saw a lot of my friends in that video that was showed earlier, and I really appreciate everything you've done for the PACE community, including myself. And my question to you is, do you have any advice you'd like to share for students who dream of entering an executive role? I'm actually going to be graduating next semester, so what should students in college or someone like myself who's about to graduate do to prepare?
Okay. Yeah, that's easy for me. There's two types of folks we have in the group. And you'll need to decide this for yourself, and don't decide it too early on. Once you start working, then you'll make the decision. We have what we call basically a tech track. So folks who like to do kind of more independent work, you still have to work with teams, but you have more proclivity to want to spend time by yourself, work on things by yourself, and achieve through technology advancement, as opposed to leading people. And we do that for a reason, because not everybody wants to lead people. Obviously, if you're gonna, you're gonna go up the ladder and you're gonna get to a spot like mine, you need to make the choice at some point that you want to manage people. Managing people is a lot harder than managing technology. And it's something that you need to work on all the time, because everybody's different. Everybody brings different personalities, traits, baggage, excellence to the table. And understanding how you can get the most out of everybody and a team to solve things, it is not easy. And you'll learn that as you go into business, you start managing people. But a lot of people like that much better than the tech stuff. For me, I like them both. And people often ask me now, what's my greatest satisfaction? My greatest satisfaction at work anymore is not really about like technical advancement. It's about, I see people in teams coming together to do the technical advancement. To me, that's the nature of a leader. Set ambitious goals, but you'll have to make that decision as you go, and not everybody does.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you, Vicente.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicente. And Ronald Croning. You step up.
Hello, Mr. Malady. Thank you so much for coming here to talk to us. It means a lot that you would come here and allow us to learn from you. So my question is, given that coronavirus has changed the way business is conducted, and that we will likely be facing the impacts of it after a vaccine is made and we are allowed to resume our lives to the extent of normal that we can, to what extent have you changed the future for Verizon's plans in terms of technology development? How have you, I'm sure you probably had plans on the future of what you wanted to do before coronavirus hit, and how are those going to be impacted after we are able to resume our lives?
That is a fantastic question. And it goes back to, I got punched in the face. I had a great plan. I got punched in the face. So now we have to redirect. First, let me say, my hat's off to all you guys right now and going to school. My daughter's now a sophomore. My youngest daughter is now, looking to go to college. It's a tough time to be in college at the moment. So, applause to all you folks for keeping your shoulder into it. Keep working on your education. It may be different, but you're still going to learn. And, hopefully this thing will pass us by. In terms of in the near future, so you can enjoy their important years. In terms of business, I look at it two ways. Initially, when COVID hit, we had to really spend a lot of time figuring out how we were going to do business. And my CIO and his team did a fantastic job. We basically had to move 135,000 people to work from home in 2 days. And we were able to do it. And over time, we've honed the model with everybody working. Now we're starting to try and bring people back to work on a rotating basis into some of the offices so we can get a little bit more normal. But the way we work has changed forever. It's never going to go back to the way it was. And that's probably a good thing. But you have to be careful too. What I see right now is people, sometimes there's no off button, right? Because now home is now, it used to be home and work. Now it's just frankly work. And it's just all the time. So the demands on people's time, and then since everybody's home, they'll bug people at 10 o'clock at night and say, I need this and I need that. And so you got to be careful. I think the working from home thing, we're going to have to figure out how we really manage that better, because otherwise I think people will just burn out. But there's a lot of benefits to it too, both from a green perspective, not so many cars on the road, from if you can do it right, from a lifestyle perspective, you don't have to go in all the time. I also think offices are going to change. I don't think offices are going to be cubies anymore, where you come in, you sit and you do your thing. I think they're going to be more collaborative workspaces where people come to innovate and do stuff. So I think it's all going to change. Now, the second half of it is we have goals and deliverables that we signed up for. So we have not taken our foot off the gas one little bit. We're just figuring out how to do it in a different way. And that's why I love my team. The resiliency once again, the innovation on how to do it. We are rolling out world's first in 5G and mobile edge compute stuff, frankly, without seeing each other for the last 6 months. And we're able to do it because of the digital virtual world. Now, listen, it's kind of funny. You know, I go look at when guys check in their code, they check it in now at 3 o'clock in the morning. That never used to happen, but I'm sure a bunch of you guys, you check in your code at 3 o'clock in the morning too. So I'm okay with that. That's all good. So it's just going to be different ways to work. But the fact of the matter is you make commitments, you call the shot, you hit the shot, and you got to keep doing it. You just got to overcome whatever, like I said before, you get punched in the face, you got to change your plan.
Thank you. Amazing.
It's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be, the next 2 years are going to be very, very interesting in how industry looks and works 10 years from now. So.
That's interesting. Great stuff. Thanks, Ronald. Great question. And kind of in the same way, talking about new technologies and new markets. Liza Black, are you in the house?
Hi, Dean Hill. I'm here.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, Kyle. Thank you so much for presenting today and telling us a little bit about your background. It's been interesting. I identify in so many areas, like I'm sure most of the students here do. One of my questions was if you can tell us more about the process of launching your new technologies to the market, sort of like what Verizon did with VZ Navigate or VZ Mobile Web and the Verizon App Store. Thank you.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We've changed a lot. So when I was doing that stuff, once again, it seems like old and, you know, like passe now, but during that time, it was really groundbreaking tech. But we did it in a way, it was almost like a waterfall. Like we had requirements and we dutifully go off and trying to build a thing from the requirements. And, you know, you'd stumble around a little bit and you'd iterate and you'd eventually figure it out. But I think we really stymied our innovation by doing it that way. Because first of all, let's face it, the person making the requirements, I mean, you know, what do they know? You know, if somebody made some stuff up, you don't know if they're right or wrong. The requirements could have been totally wrong. What I find is much more effective in the way we do it now is we set up agile teams of people who are experts in what they do, set a high level goal, and then have them run after it. And I find that works much faster. Then people can, you know, and you allow people to fail and then iterate and then fix. And it's a different way. And we've been doing it now for about 5 years. It isn't in everywhere, but I can see a difference. In the places that are doing the old style, it's just, you get a lot of finger pointing. At the end of the day, it doesn't meet the 100% of the requirements. Nobody feels good about it and nobody feels they've won. When we make these smaller teams and you do small little journeys and you take bite-sized bites, I find the teams get really excited by it and they get a success. Everybody's happy. There's no finger pointing. They sorted out all the problems themselves and they have the accomplishment to enjoy themselves. And they enjoy it so much more when it's a team effort as opposed to finger pointing. And once again, not really technology related, it's people related, psychology and et cetera. And so I'm just more happy about how we're going to go going forward. What hasn't changed is there are smart people who could figure out things back in the day and back now. But once again, the people who are the best at it are the ones who are curious. They ask hard questions. They can see the possibilities and they don't stymie themselves. So yeah, so that's that one. Things have evolved a lot since I was doing it.
That's great. Thank you very much, Liza. Marlena, I believe you had a question for Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. I'm Marlena. And first of all, congratulations to the award. And thank you for all the great advice and the moving stories that you just shared with us. It's truly appreciated.
Great.
My question to you is the following. Verizon recently acquired TracFone Wireless. How is this deal impacting Verizon's business strategy?
Yeah, so we just thought it's a natural thing. TracFone is what you call a reseller. So they're really not a technology group per se. They're more of a marketing and sales kind of operation. But they've built up a very large customer base over time. And it just happens to be that most of their customers are on our network anyway, right? So we just decided, we just decided that, you know what, we started talking to them. They were interested in doing a transaction, and it really just became more of a financial thing. Like, hey, they'd be looking to exit. We'd get into basically a new segment of the market that we really have not been terribly strong in. So we could take all of their expertise and how they were really good in that segment of the market. We could bring it in house, and then we could maybe we could do better with the networking portion of it too, and bringing them together. So we're really excited by this combination. It's going to take a while to close, but we announced it, and really we think it's a great addition to our overall portfolio within Verizon, and it'll allow us to be much stronger, more innovative in a segment of the market that we have not been that strong in.
That sounds like a really exciting deal. Thank you for sharing.
Great question. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. And Ms. Simone Gonzalez, I believe you are next.
Thank you, Dean Hill. Mr. Malady, sir, I just want to thank you for coming, for giving back, for giving me the opportunity to meet you virtually. And I have a lot of questions, but I would like to ask you, what is the best and worst career decision you've ever made, if I can ask that?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the thing I said before. I don't know if I made the best decisions in my life. I know I've made some wrong ones. I'll tell you, the best one I made career-wise was I had a job, and I was making pretty good bucks. I was making good quid because I was working a lot of overtime, right? So I was making good money. But another job came available that I knew I would learn more, and I knew I could have probably more impact, but I'd be making less cash. And I wasn't making a lot of cash to begin with, but I did it. And, and I ended up, for a year and a half, I made less money, but then making that move opened up other career doors for me. And that led to, in 3 years' time, I was making more money than I would have, right? So I could have made a pretty myopic decision there and just stayed in my job, making the money, but I thought more about my career and what I could learn. And I think that led me down the right path. The worst decision I've made some bad decisions technically and business-wise. So I've built some things, spent the company's money on some things that I thought would fly commercially and never did take off. So those are, and there's a handful of those. But on the other hand, there's an upshot of that. I learned from each and every one of those on what kind of went wrong. And then that led me to how to diagnose if something like that happens in the future. So, those are some of the things that, not my proudest moments in picking some tech and picking some business things to go after, but that's part of business. You're never going to get 100% right. And everybody should always think about that. If you think you can get stuff 100% right 100% of the time, you're going to stymie yourself, because you're not going to be creative, and you're not going to take enough risk. So I've learned that was actually not so bad as I moved through my career as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess in baseball, if you're batting 400, you're an all-star forever, right?
Absolutely. Best ever.
We try to do these things. And Simone, that was great. Thank you. I think next up is our guy from Big Sky Country, Jack Bonowit.
All right.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you very much for your words today. Congratulations.
So you're you're in Montana? That's what you said?
No, I'm originally from Idaho, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here in Brooklyn now, though. But I was wondering, Vicente kind of asked my question a little bit, but I suppose I can ask the specifics. So as you climbed the ladder from an engineering position, where did you find the most success personally? Was it in understanding technology with like a greater precision, or learning the business side of things, or maybe another avenue creatively somehow?
Yeah, so my passion, I love the tech. I love learning the tech. I love it. But, and this is interesting. So I had I got my BS ME, right? So I was in mechanical engineering. I graduated, got that. Then I started to go to grad school to get maybe a master's in engineering. And I quickly kind of learned that you know what? I like this business side of it as well. And it would probably behoove me to kind of maybe not go so deeper into the tech side. And that's what led me to go for an MBA in finance. And actually, if I wanted to go higher, I needed to have a broader base of knowledge and skills. So that's why I went down the MBA track. And ultimately it was very helpful because I ended up managing large budgets, even at a very young age, and understanding the accounting, understanding how you finance deals, understanding all those marketing, all those type of things was very helpful to basically get where I am today. But I was also, once again, I'm very lucky. The company gave me the opportunity as an engineer to manage large sums of money. Sounds a little wacky. I don't know what happens everywhere, but ultimately it makes a lot of sense. I mean, engineers, data folks, we're all about details and bits and bytes. So managing money's, managing money isn't exactly that hard if you're into that level of detail. But so, yeah, so that's it. And then at some point, like I say, it just keeps morphing. And then you get satisfaction of responsibility of making, how can you steer your organization? What bets do you want to make as a company? I mean, we're making a large bet on 5G. And so I take that with great responsibility, and the rest of the leadership team does. We're spending enormous amounts of money. We need to buy spectrum. We need to get resources and people. And so now for me, that's really the payoff in my head. And okay, we're making this. Can we make this work? Can we make a difference for society? Can we make a difference for our company? Can we make a difference for our employees? So now that's where I take pride, and it just evolves over time. You just develop as a human. You develop in things that excite you, and it changes. It's changed a hell of a lot since when I was 21 to when I'm 53. I could tell you.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, nice question, Jack. Very nice. Fabrice Neza, are you online and available?
Yes, I'm here.
Good evening. Where are you this evening, Fabrice?
It's not evening, it's afternoon.
Your afternoon.
Yes, I'm in the US.
Fabrice is from Rwanda. Are you here, or where do we find?
I'm in the US. I attend Pace University.
Yes, we love that. Had a question.
Thank you. My first question was, since I'm an international student from Rwanda, the first question is Verizon hiring from international graduates? That was the first one.
Okay. Well, let me hit that one first. So we have employees where most of our employees are domestic United States, but we absolutely do have folks who work around the globe. I don't know if we have a job in Rwanda at the moment, but if we do, feel free to send me the resume. I'll let you know.
Okay, the second one is I was reading some newspapers, and they were saying telecommunication industry in US is mature. To mean things are going to cloud, and so they are becoming software based. With this 5G, everyone is software, the defined network, the SDN thing. So based on what you shared, your experience, you grew up with the technology advancement or development. You had where to practice. That New Jersey switch went off and you went there to switch it on or fix it, that pressure. But in nowadays, everything is in hands of Amazon, in hands of Microsoft, everything is cloud. With 5G, we don't see anything. So what would be your advice to some people like us who have that passion you talked about, who are just with that, what you said, that we can't find place to practice?
So I'll give you a thing. Here's a story. So when I first started, I said I was a technician. Yes. And me and my buddy, we were assigned to go build a cell site. So with other people, but we had to put the equipment in and turn it up and test it and work it. That was cell site number 79. And it was up in Sloatsburg, New York. So that's 79 in the whole East Coast. So I remember we were done with it and we did it and we turned it on. And then I looked at my buddy and we're like, geez, How many more of these can they need? What you think? Maybe they need 100, and then we're going to be out of a job, right? You know how many cell sites I have right now? 70,000. So, and that's the thinking I had when I started. Yeah, stuff is going into clouds, but there's still a lot of physical and other things that need to happen. We just did a deal and we announced it with Amazon. I've been working with Andy Jazzy and Garmin and a couple guys at AWS now for 3 years. And what we're doing is we're taking their clouds that are in AWS zones and their wavelength product, and we're marrying it up with our 5G network so we could create new experiences. This is largely done with software, but there's still all of the services that need to be created. There's still all of the hardware that needs to be developed and built. There's still all the operational aspects that we need to take care of. We need to monitor it. You need to figure out when it's broken. You need to fix it. There's all of the stuff we're doing on AI and ML right now. So basically what we do is create digital twins of the network so we could run what if scenarios. So believe me, there's tons and tons of work and there's tons and tons of technology advancements. It just changes a little bit. Like I tell some of my folks, voicemail. You all familiar with voicemail? Probably not so much anymore, but 25 years ago, voicemail was a big deal. And really what they were monolithic boxes that sat inside of our COs that had hardware and software together. And that was just it. They did voicemail and that was it. Now, there was people who took care of those boxes. Now, that's all in the cloud. Now, a lot of people saw that transition coming and they retooled their skills. So in the new world of voicemail, they could be marketable and they could be of use to the firm. And so it's all a matter of you gotta be going along with the innovations and the technology evolutions and make sure you're making yourself relevant as the new things change. What I could tell you for sure in business, the only thing that never changes is change. It always is advancing, always is advancing. Hope that helps.
And that's great. And the cloud questions are pouring in now. Elan Fisher, you had a question for Kyle?
Hi, yes, I did. By the way, I want to say thank you so much for coming and speaking. Congratulations. And I was wondering, I guess, tagging on from the question before, how soon do you think computing in general or processing like on a device is going to be moved to either multiple edge networks or the cloud completely? Or do you think that will?
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm working on. So see, I've been around so long, I've seen the world is, and probably Dean Hill knows the same thing. This whole idea of, computing locally or computing outside, lightweight devices versus heavyweight devices. So listen, ARM technology, chipset processing, as opposed to x86 stuff, is really power efficient, right? So the development of ARM and OLED technologies on devices made smartphones, they give capability to do really cool things. But you reach a limit with what you could do with the ARM. And that's where I see MEC. That's why I get so jazzed up about what MEC can do, because now I can push compute power, like massive compute power, right to the edge. And so this little pipsqueak of an ARM, now I can really bolster it, because then the reason I could do it is the latency is so good between the 5G RAN and where that MEC is located. I can apply AI and ML algorithms to do a bunch of video analytics. One cool thing we're doing right now, so we're working with a couple hospitals with this. We're putting the MEC right in the hospital, and then they have 5G radios, and they're doing, they're going in and doing the scopes, right, for like say colonoscopies or whatever, and some other things. And usually they tape it and then they got to bring it back and they got to analyze it. So now we could do, because we can compute so fast, they can actually run it up in real time, run it up against hundreds of thousands of other cases and try and draw correlations. So they get a much faster result. So it's that kind of thing that, is really exciting to me. The other cool thing is I was doing something and I was with the AWS guys, and we put in 5G, and we put a mech in the area. It wasn't in the building. And one of the gamers, we had one of the gamer guys, and they had ported their app to the phone, and it only really works on a console because you need those kind of, you know, super duper lightning quick bandwidth characteristics and latency and less jitter and all that. And the kid showed it to me, and I was like, all right, it looks cool, but he goes, you don't get it. He goes, this will not work on 4G. This won't work. And he goes, what you brought to the table here really changes the game. So I'm super excited about the future of what we're doing in networks and the combination of compute at the edge. You know, it's just going to open up so much innovation for people to come up with new business models and new things. And I hope all you guys, you get excited about it, go learn about it. It's going to be, there's going to be a new world. You know, I see this as even more exciting than when we first started with 4G. There's going to be a new world of things that are going to be really awesome.
That's wonderful.
I appreciate that question, man. I got jazzed about that one. See, I love it.
I really do appreciate the very extensive answer. It's awesome. I'm kind of excited as well. Yeah.
All right.
We're going to get you guys set up at the after party.
There you go.
Cloud technologies all day long. We have time for one more, and this goes to one of the great contributors to Seidenberg community, Justin Brandon, one of our vet students. And Justin, the mic is yours.
Thanks for coming today, Kyle.
Hey, that's high praise.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I've actually got to work on a couple of cell sites myself. I'm an older student, by the way, which is what my question is based on. As an older student that's going to return to the professional environment, is my age going to be a handicap for returning to the high-tech environment like Verizon is?
Hell no, not at Verizon. So listen, so here's it's interesting. The timing of this is interesting. I was, before this call, I was on a call. We have a program with, I also try and hire folks who are coming out of the military. So folks who are like retiring from the military, we've got a program that they come in and they work with us. And every year, you know, a whole bunch of them get jobs. And, you know, they're a little later on too. They're maybe in the same boat as you, maybe even a little later on in their, because they spent a lot of time in the military. So for me and my team, your age, you know, where you come from, your socioeconomic background, your color, it all doesn't matter. It's what you bring to the table in terms of your passion, your curiosity, your commitment, your resiliency, and what you can add to the team. We're a huge believer in Verizon. Diversity of thought leads to better outcomes. And I've seen it in my past where you get like-minded people who 95% of the time are going to agree on 95% of the stuff, and you don't end up in the right spot. I want people with all manner of background, thought process, different experiences at our tables developing stuff. So the easy answer to your question is does not matter.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Justin, thank you so much. And I hate to say it, but we are officially out of time here. Suffice to say that we could spend many, many hours with Kyle, and that we are going to have Kyle back early and often to continue these conversations.
I'd love to do it.
Count on it. So, Kyle, we are so deeply grateful to you for your gift and your time and talent that you've extended to us today. And I am so deeply grateful to all of you in the Seidenberg and PACE communities. We are incredibly grateful to our alumni for your involvement and your continued support of your alma mater. And we are incredibly grateful to the corporate partners who make this event possible. Verizon and ADP, Mike Capone and his colleagues at Click, and Kevin Ryan at AliCorp, the Gray Foundation, Lion Tree LLC, and all of our students and faculty and staff who came to spend some time with us today. So I thank you. Don't forget to sign up for part 2 of the Seidenberg Innovation Awards, which we will celebrate on November 12th with PACE alumnus Vipul McGrath, who leads product development and major account services at ADP. If you would like to learn more about PACE events and ways to engage with and meet our students, please contact our hero, Seidenberg Development Director, Det Sao. And I want to thank Det and all of her colleagues in the Office of Development at Pace University for making today possible and for your great professionalism and unflagging energy that made this, this event and so many others possible. The Seidenberg School has a huge list of events in the month of October. Check it out. It's pretty impressive. There are lots of things going on every week. So make sure that you are engaging in them. We may be in a pandemic and our face-to-face time is limited, but there are fantastic opportunities like this one where you really get to hear from the people who are making it happen in the field of technology. So again, my deepest thanks to Katie Todd, Jill Olimpieri, Melanie Madera, Matthew Poley, and all of the faculty and staff at the Seidenberg School who made this possible, and to our brilliant students who ask such amazing questions. Thank you for taking this conversation to the next level. And I'd like to give the last word to Kyle.
Hey, I appreciate that, Dean Hill. Once again, just humbled by the honor here. Look forward to continue work with Pace, and hopefully a lot of the folks on this call end up working at Verizon and choose us for a career path. And really energized by the discussion. You guys had great questions, and like I said, you guys have a bright future ahead of you, starting with the grounding of the education you're getting, and then moving into whatever field of endeavor really jazzes you up. But I can't be any more thankful for the honor and the ability to talk to you bright folks today. So thank you all.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude this edition of the 2020 Seidenberg Innovation Awards with deep appreciation to Kyle Malady and all of his colleagues at Verizon. Have a great evening, and we will see you all soon. Thank you.